Bing bong.
Hey, mate, how are you?
Going all right. How's yourself?
Oh, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Battling away.
Uh,
Battling away. My God, did I miss you the other day or what?
why? What happened?
Oh, that was just trying to manage trades when you've kind of got
Oh,
no no wingman is
good.
really tough.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I kind of made a couple of mistakes.
Oh,
Not the worst thing, but I could have done with you. I could have done with you the other day.
sorry, man. I was on
Oh
a
no,
boat.
you got to do what you got to do, haven't you?
Sadly,
Anyway,
sometimes, yes.
we are on air, so let's get cracking. So
Didn't
I
swear, did
don't.
I?
What's that, mate? No, you didn't swear. No. So we have a futures market which is gapped to the downside, but actually I'm still looking at further gains in the FTSE 100. I think that there's a bit more room here to travel to the upside. So I'm just watching out for
Santa
that.
Claus?
Definitely a Santa Claus rally going on, and
Santa's
this
arrived. Yep.
this is the thing, I kind of got in a short down here, and as the market took off, where was it? Might have been here actually. Was it there? Yes, it was. I got in a short here, and as the market took off, I just didn't have the headspace to kind of manage my trade until late. So it was only really when I started getting off air that I was able to manage it. So it was a tricky day for me. But
When was
anyway,
that,
that's
mate? That was Friday, Thursday.
that was on
Oh, where
Thursday.
are we?
No, that was
Oh,
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, that
Monday.
was Monday.
What
Yeah,
day
yeah,
is it? I've got no idea.
yeah.
I'm jet lagged from being on a boat. How does that work?
Not quite sure. Um, anyway, this is where we are, and things aren't too bad as they go. Well, I don't have to kind of like talk through all the mistakes that I've made this morning, but I did make a mistake this morning straight away. This gap to the downside, and I had a trade on short here, so I closed the trade, which looks like a sensible idea because it was a little bit of profit, but it's bounced up. But of course, when the futures pass over from one quarter to the next, then you get a swap, and that swap was negative down here. So this price
Hmm.
isn't actually here. When we look at a proper cash chart, the price actually was stable up here, still in a good space up here. So there wasn't a trade short. Sorry, there wasn't a profit on my short. The actual profit is all the way down here on what would be on the cash chart. So I've already made a bit of an error this morning, but the reason it's not the worst thing in the world, and I can laugh about it now, haha, is because of course, with the swap to the downside, there's also a swap to the upside, and I have got a long in the market as well. So my swaps to the upside are positive. So when I get the long sorted out, then actually it's all okay. So I'm not in
We in
bad shape.
Australia call that robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yes. Well, that's really what's happened. And the one good thing is that maybe closing out one of the shorts is not the worst thing in the world, because I will try another short up here somewhere, but it's got a little way to go before I can do that. I can see the market just having another maybe 30 pips to the upside before it's really under immense stress, and that is really what I'm looking for. If we go back to the cash chart here, then firstly, just apologies, guys, that the show was so late. Completely my fault. Completely my fault. Hey, Lewis.
Yeah, hi
I
Lewis. Thanks, mate. Thanks for the welcome back.
I just had a little bit of a drama this morning that I seem to be having quite regularly. My daughter's, she's got
I was going to say,
very
is it about 3 years old and about 2 inches
yeah.
wide?
I tell you what, she's got really clingy, and it's to do with going away. Because I go away sort of to Singapore, it really affects her. Um, not doing her any favors whatsoever. So she's really clingy. So when she's got to kind of leave me for the day, she finds it really difficult.
Yep.
Um, but anyway, that is what it is. Anyway, we are
Mate, it's at the end of the day, it's lovely.
Yes, it is, but it does get a little bit,
Awkward, but
it's a bit awkward. But I wonder whether it's
but
actually quite unhealthy for her, to be so reliant on me being around. So I don't think it's
yeah,
too.
probably not. But that'll pass.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully
You'll be the worst prick on the planet shortly. So.
So let me just show you what we got with the FTSE and what I'm aiming for. I do think there's a little bit more upside, as I say, out of this market, and really it's up here. So if we put this up here, I think it could. I think there's some open water, maybe to this level up here. So there's possibly some more room up here, which I'd like to see what happens before. And it's interesting you say about the Santa rally, because really that's exactly what's going on. We've got this immense Santa rally happening, and I wonder whether if the seasonals actually, because the seasonal patterns obviously don't always work. But certainly this year, at this particular time of year, this is exactly what should be happening with these seasonal patterns. So
I think once it starts, it gains traction and everything. Oh shit, it's a Santa rally. Let's buy.
Exactly. What's interesting is that the driver for the market has really been about the Chinese and US trade potential resolution. But there's no resolution. That the two parties are still locking horns. To a degree, and it hasn't been signed. So there's still quite a lot of goodwill going on.
He signed phase 1, didn't he? Whatever that was.
No, it hasn't been signed. No, it's been agreed.
So that was fake news.
Well, it's been agreed supposedly, but it's not been signed, which makes it, makes this whole kind of thing a little bit tricky, So I'm still looking for some downside to come. I think the market's got a bit overinflated here. So I am looking for a bit of downside, but I've got to be a little bit cautious on when I go short because of the Santa rally and of the huge momentum to the upside that we've had. So I am looking for shorts, but just not yet. So I'm looking for a roundabout, as I say, probably another let me see, maybe another 30 pips up, and then we'll see what happens after that. But as I say, not in bad shape, mate. Not in bad shape at all.
Well, this is good, mate. What are you thinking? What are your thought processes on knocking off trading, or are you just going to ride it out, keep going?
Oh, what, knocking off trading until the new year?
Well, yeah. Are you going to do that? Are you going to take a break?
Yeah. Well, as soon as I get out, actually. I mean, I've got some trades to manage. This is the issue. This is what the problem was on Monday. I got into these trades. You got a couple going, yeah. So these need to be managed, and until they're managed and safe, and I mean the trades are safe if you like, but until they've made me some money, and I've closed all my positions down, then I won't be taking too much of a break. Obviously, things are a little bit lighter. There's an enforced break next week anyway with Christmas. But I'll trade. I'm hoping that I can trade up until Friday, but I think that the higher probability is that I leave things as they are until the new year, and then get straight back on it when the market opens. But I'll be monitoring it. It's not like I won't necessarily be managing it, but I'll certainly be monitoring it over the next few days, just to see if I can get what I need, which is actually some downside. I do need some downside now. I've got an upside trade that is making the downside, the short trade safe, but I could do with clearing out of the upside trades at some point. So I'm looking for a bit of downside, but this is why I don't think that's going to come until the new year, which means that I've just got to leave things as they are because I need a little bit of probably quite a lot of bad news just to kind of take me back down again. I'm just looking for a test. There's been no test of an area when I kind of look at these charts. There's just been extreme confidence to the upside. So when we kind of look at this, we've got this area here that was tested. This area hasn't been tested, and it is a genuine breakout zone. So I want to see this tested really before I throw everything in long. You know, look at this on the dailies. This is quite a significant horizontal level that has not yet been tested, and it will get tested at some point. It's just obviously a question of timing. So so let's see what happens with that. But yeah, I am looking for the downside. But as I say, it doesn't look like it's going to happen you know, this side of the year currently.
Okie dokie. I'm not completely on top of what's going on in the world, I've got to say. So I'm not 100% confident about anything at the moment. But I'll take a look at a couple of currencies if you like.
That'd be great.
Roger D. All right. Let's start with, I guess, the trades that I'm in. That's probably a good place to start. For whatever reason, I'm not getting. You cannot share screen without that. You're going to have to do something, mate. This is in this crazy mode now where
okay.
It won't let me share.
Okay, let me see
and
what
you
I can
might
do.
Disappear.
Let me stop sharing. If I disappear, I guess I'll come straight back.
Yep.
How's that?
Yeah, that looks reasonable. Okay. Does that work?
That's worked beautifully.
Magnifico. Righto. Interesting one, this one, and I'm really not happy with it. I'm in the trade now short euro yen, but gee, I've taken a terrible price on it, in my opinion. I traded this. When did I go away? Or when did I come back? I can't remember. Like I said, I'm jet lagged. I traded this bar here, but I put my entry where it is there, and I put my stop loss well above whatever pivot there was there at that point in time, whatever daily pivot there was. And then as I would normally do, you would expire this after end of day. But this morning I had a look at it again, and I thought, it's still there. The lower high is still there, and there were a few options to take. One was either move my entry up to here, which kind of made sense, and the other was move my stop loss to here, which kind of made sense, or move my stop loss to here, which also kind of made sense. But I liked this as the lower high for some reason. I got the visual. You know what it's like when you just know that this is the one. It's the right place to take it.
Yeah.
But then it got wiped out on yesterday. So I had to make a few decisions this morning, and I decided just to leave the trade as it was. But I'm in at a really bad price, I reckon now. Here would have been the entry, and this, in retrospect, obviously would have been the right candle to take. But yeah, I'm not happy. I really need to see this get a move on quickly. Otherwise, I think we're maybe going to respect this little bar here and go back to the daily pivot, and then we're in an uncomfortable position, etc., etc., etc. So I think what I'd like to do right now. How many pips are we up? 5 or 6 pips or something. It's nearly 9, 10 pips. I'm so tempted just to move my stops to entry right now and see what happens. Either we'll go to weekly pivot, or we're going back to this trend line. That's the way I see it at the moment. And I don't want to go back to this trend line because I've taken such a bad entry price. The way I look at it now, I've taken such a bad entry price. If this goes, happy days. We still get TP1 and away we go. If it doesn't, then, as I said, we're either back to the daily pivot or we're back to the trend line, in which case we're going to get a better price to sell. So I want to close this if we get back beyond entry. I don't like it, guys. I don't like the entry price. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to move my stops to entry and go from there. So if you're in this trade with me, obviously trade it the way you see fit, but that's what I'm going to do. I think this has got now a big potential to go back to this area and a big potential to go back to this area, and at which time we'll be in trouble. And I think we'll find a better entry if we do go to there. So, like I said, if we come down here, then happy days. If not, then I think we've done the right thing. So, stops to entry on Euro Yen. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar has obviously come back a substantial distance from where we were, only 100 pips. That's substantial enough. But we are at a level where this is likely, if it is going to continue this higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low scenario, then here's the place that it will do that, in my opinion. It could come back down to the monthly pivot, in which case we'll be out of the trade. But don't forget, we've banked twice on this already, and stops are at entry, so it can only be a winner. And why I want to keep this in the market is my target is here. So if we can survive this pullback, I think we're away. If we can't survive this pullback, then there may be another entry for us coming up. So I'm not the least bit concerned about this. I think we're in perfect shape here. If our stop gets hit, so be it. As I said, we can only win, and then we can look for another entry to hit this area up here when it's our turn. If I'm to trade this now without being in the market, I'm probably thinking short, to be honest. But that said, if you have a look at that level that we're at currently, hang on, I'll just make that a little bit better. Let's go white. Let's go full line. Let's go heavy. So if you look at that level there, it has been resistance in the past. Not huge, not a really strong level, but it is a level. And the market could well respect that. I don't think I'd like to be going short at this very point. I don't think it's a wise thing to do. Although, that said, when I look at this bigger picture thing, I think, that's actually a continuation pattern. That's what I'm seeing here. But it is a double bottom. So we will see. We'll see what happens. The interesting part about this, when is a double bottom, and when is it a continuation pattern as a whole? And I have to go way, way bigger than this chart to answer that question. And the question now becomes, well, it's not a question anymore. It's a very clear scenario to me. It isn't a double bottom. It isn't a classic double bottom. A classic double bottom is this here. That's a classic double bottom for mine. And we've got a higher low in place, which is why I think, it's potentially possible we'll go here. But when you get a double bottom followed by 2 equal highs, and if you go to a lower time frame, another 2 equal lows, where was that on the 4-hour time frame? Here, which is which? Which one do you play? Do you play this as a double bottom on the 4-hour chart? Answer yes, probably. Or the 30-minute chart? Answer yes, probably. But in the longer term, in the bigger picture, this is not a double bottom. This is just a higher low at this point in time. And if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't and plays out exactly as I'm anticipating it will, then we'll carry on with the job. So that's the Aussie, mate. I'm okay with where we're at, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if we do see lower prices. Wouldn't surprise me. Look, to be fair, I actually have no idea what's going on in the world right now. You spoke about China and US trade wars, which is still not resolved.
Yeah,
we've got Christmas coming up. We've got obviously on Friday. Is it all over on Friday, mate, or is it just another kick down the road?
With Brexit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem the problem now is that Boris Johnson really, he's I think he surprised people. I think people were expecting maybe a more measured Boris Johnson, a more a calmer position from him, and maybe sort of a position where he might look to do a deal with the EU and be a bit more moderate. But he's going in for this hard position, which I do understand. When you sort of like think about Donald Trump's tactics, he's gone in hard on people. He's gone in hard on China, and arguably he's getting what he wants out of it. And what Boris Johnson is effectively saying is, if I don't have no deal on the table, then negotiations are going to be very, very difficult. So this will weaken the pound, inevitably, which is what we've seen. We've seen some weakness in the pound because we are, at this position where the No Deal Brexit is still a chance and it's still on the table. So it won't get sorted out for another year. I mean, it's kicking it down the road is one way to put it, I suppose. But I just think that this is just another chapter in what is a very, very difficult time for the UK, and a very, very difficult time it will be for the pound as well. So he wants to put into
seen that.
Yeah, I mean, what you're referring to is the legislation where he wants to put into legislation that the deal has to be done within a year, and everybody's effectively saying that's just not possible. So that brings a no deal Brexit very much back to a reality and back on the table. So with that particular thing in mind, then you have to question whether he can push it through within a year. I think with the right motivation and the right headspace from all parties, then it can probably be done. But everybody's saying it can't be done. But we've heard that before. Things can't be done, and then all of a sudden they kind of come out with a new statement and they say that the deal is being done and it's being changed. So I think that there's probably he needs to see some softening. But he's got to, all of this stuff. Boris Johnson's played a blinder to this point in every single respect. He's played a blinder with the EU. He's played a blinder with the general election. But there has to be a huge slice of luck with all this too. So he's got to be kind of lucky to get what he needs. I think this is the thing with when you take a risk, when you take a educated or otherwise, but when you take a risk, then there's obviously a huge chance that risk actually turns in the opposite way for you, and actually turns out to be a risk that is one too far. So that could happen. He may take one risk more than he should do, or it might turn out that he plays another blinder. And obviously, what he's trying to do is put some hard lines between him and the Remainers. He's saying that this thing's going to get done, and he's going down the hardened route of it.
Right. So on Friday with this, whatever it is, what do we expect? It's binary. Is it maybe this, maybe that?
No, I think it is going to be set in law that it has to be done by what is it, 31st of December next year? I'm not sure the exact date, but basically within a year. And he will win because he's got a majority now in Parliament. So that's all he needed. He just needs to push through all the things that he wants to push through. That's what the general election was all about, really, just trying to get enough power to say this is the course of direction for this country. So I now will make the decisions, and all my party will make sure that those decisions get implemented. He's also saying that he's not going to go to Davos, which is the economic forum for businesses and governments. He's also saying that he's not going there, and one of the reasons he's saying that is because he wants to make sure that he appeals to the working class voters that effectively, as he says, lended him their vote. Lent him the vote against Labour to win the election. So, he's certainly taken an interesting stance, Boris Johnson. He's got a very interesting tactic going on. So, it will be put through by law, and they will win. There's no doubt about it. Every time that Boris Johnson makes a suggestion now, he's going to win.
Yep, seems that way. So, okay. The whole world, let's call it 1, 2, 3. Let's call it a week and a half ago. Let's call it a week ago. 1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4, 5, was bullish the pound in a very, very big way, right?
Yeah.
And let's do that.
Well, they like the
Well,
certainty,
let's
and
do it
but
on a
you
4-hour
see,
chart.
you see what he's done now. In some respects, it's created a heap of uncertainty.
So this is very, very clear, isn't it? Really, that graphically or technically, we've seen exactly a reversal of that decision to the pip.
Yes. Yes.
It's just complete reverse, pound versus
Yes.
the US dollar.
Which is interesting because you haven't got it on your chart, but I've actually got a gap on my chart, which has been filled now. And that gap is effectively that bar, that crazy bar is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much a gap on my chart, which is, as I say, is now being filled.
So if you're and I know you're still bullish the FTSE right now.
Yes.
Are you a bear the pound or aren't you?
I am actually, yeah, I am, but only in the short term. I think Moody's and Fitch have now increased the pound's credit rating, so there is some good news for the pound, and I think some certainties are a good thing. But yeah, I think Boris Johnson government will be good for the UK economy, and I think it will probably be good for the pound as well. So I am bullish the pound, but what I mentioned on Sunday in the free show was that I think the pound will probably drift back. It will have to close the gap, and just the way we are now, it's suggesting that that it's going to come back a little bit further, rather than be moving to the upside. Because we have to remember that for the pound to strengthen, there has to be a hint that interest rates get hiked. And if that's not going to happen because the data's bad, which I think it will be for a period, then I don't see why there would be huge interest in the pound, except for the fact that it's been so beaten up for so long. So I suppose it is undervalued. Even with those interest rates where they are, it's undervalued. So I suppose the pound will move up. But I think that there's probably quite a few twists and turns on the way still to come, I don't think Brexit is going to get sorted out for a decade, if I'm honest, mate. I think this is going to take a long time. Yeah, because the thing is, they're after this trade deal, which they're suggesting the Canada-style trade deal, and I think that took something like 6 years to sort out. So, that takes us into halfway through the decade, and who knows what can happen.
We're closing in. We're now closing in on 4, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. So you think a trade deal could take minimum, let's say if they're lucky, it could take another 3. So then we're looking at nearly 7 years until we've got through Brexit. So as I say, I think it's going to be deep into the decade before it gets sorted out. So I think that the pound's probably still got some tumultuous moves, as will the euro.
Look at that chart. That's telling me something right now.
What we got? What's this? The pound dollar
monthly chart.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to go above there, does it?
No, absolutely not. No, it doesn't. And that's going to be the key area, isn't it? If the pound bulls can take us through that area, then the momentum will probably take us. Julian mentioned 160, and maybe it gets to 160, but I think that's going to take quite some time. I think 140 is probably near a fair value, maybe 150, maybe 145, something like that is probably near a fair value. So yes, I see the pound rallying, but I still think there's probably one more dip that could come into effect first.
Yeah, look, if I'm long right now, I'm a little bit jittery, I've got to say, looking at that bar. And I know we're coming into a non-trade period, if you like. But yeah, that looks a little bit jittery to me. We'll see.
It does, doesn't it?
Okay. Well, let's leave that one alone. Well, let's not leave it alone right now. I've got and I haven't been monitoring, of course, guys, while I've been away, the pound breakout trade. That looks reasonable yesterday. That one looks a little bit sticky. That one looks, impossible. Oh no, that's probably a winner. I don't know.
What would have happened yesterday with a pound breakout trade? Would that have?
Yeah, let's have a look. So where's the 9 o'clock bar? About there. So there's 7, 8, 9 o'clock bars there. So there's our entry 10 pips below that. It's stand down Mazair winner. It's a big winner.
Yeah, I thought it would be.
15-minute chart. Hang on, let's put. So that's the 9 o'clock bar. Yeah, that one there. It's the 9 o'clock bar. So we've got our entry underneath the range, which is here and here. And let's go to the 15-minute chart. 15-minute chart gets us into the market with this one. We trail our stop to here, 2 seller bars. We trail our stop to here. We only get to there and we're out. So we're out here.
Yeah.
But that's a winner, of course. And you know, this is the thing you're going to find, I believe. You're going to find a lot of little winners and then some very big winners. But I think you're going to find that the losers are only small as well. And that sort of pleases me. That really does please me. If you're only, you know, if you're not losing, or if you're only losing a portion of what you're prepared to risk, and you're picking up winner, loss, winner, loss, who cares? You know, that kind of works for me. So I like that. So look, I won't go through all this today, but we'll have time for it next week. I don't know. Maybe you would have been triggered. I don't think you probably would have been with the spreads there. There's the entry for today at 130.77. I don't think you would have been triggered on that, frankly. So still no trigger on that. Mate, I haven't got that much that I really want to have a look at. Pound Kiwis won, however, but the discussion that we've just had has got me in a different frame of mind. I was of the opinion that we're at a very strong support level here, and we've had a lot of action. Bang, 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 false break, and we're now back above this descending channel. Is this a flag on the previous moves? Probably a little bit long in the tooth, but I still like the fact that we're at the bottom of it. I still like the fact that we're above this confluence area. I'd really like to see price get above the daily pivot and come back and retest it. If that were to be the case, I think I'd be a bull. And only to the top of the range. I'm not interested in going any further than that at the moment. But the discussion we've just had about the pound doesn't fill me with excitement, I've got to say. At the end of the day, we've got a double bottom, or sorry, we've got 2 level bottoms, let's put it that way. Is that a double bottom? Let's call it equal lows. But look at the level they're at. That's pretty cool. That's a strong level right there. So, gee whiz. This price action here is crazy, absolutely crazy. You don't often see a candle that goes 500 pips in, what chart am I on? A day, and 2 days later goes 320 pips in the opposite direction. That's crazy price action, absolutely crazy. And that's why the pound is very, very difficult to trade at the moment, no matter what cross you're trading, because how do you survive that? I don't know how you survive that unless you've got a strong position, you know, and your position is, you know, massive wide stops. That's the only way you can get out of that. Ignore the noise, but you know, it's 500 up, 300 back. Hello, that's really tough.
Yeah,
really tough.
It is tough, isn't it? I mean, what have I got here? I'm just looking at the data today. We got CPI data out of the UK later on as well. The President Trump impeachment is today as well.
Oh, okay. Where's that up to?
You know, they're voting on it today. I think they're voting on the impeachment today. He's not going to get impeached.
Okay, so he's impeached if the vote gets through today.
I think so. I think that's, or maybe it's just the first vote on it. I'm not 100% on that, if I'm completely honest. But I just heard that there is a vote on the impeachment trial today. So
actually, let's talk about that for just a tick. And I know it's getting late. What happens if he gets impeached to the market? Do you think? What happens to the dollar? What happens to the?
What if he gets impeached?
The equity markets. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? I think they tank. I think
I think the equity markets do. I'm not sure about the dollar.
Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because people are calling for a weaker dollar, but I just can't see how that would be positive dollar. I mean, surely gold would rally like hard off the back of that. That's going to create huge uncertainty in the market. And if that is what the market does react upon, then we could probably see the gold. Certainly, I don't know about the yen so much, but I think we'd certainly see gold probably strengthen. The yen actually might suffer because if we think about, well, actually no, the yen may do quite well, because the thing is, if Donald Trump gets impeached, then it might be perceived that that trade gets back to normal. And if that's the case, then you could see the yen probably doing quite well out of that, because obviously they're such a heavily traded, such a trade heavy economy that that they probably have suffered over this period. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky one, mate. But what you're thinking that maybe people go to the dollar for a bit of safety?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's got me. Once upon a time, I would have said the answer to that question was yes, definitely. But I just don't know anymore.
Well,
everything's changed.
Everything has changed. I think that what we can be a little bit maybe more comfortable stating is that that gold would likely rally. Gold would likely rally, and
I'll go with that. Yep.
Yeah. So I suppose if we're looking at potential trades in that particular instance, then I would look for gold. I would probably look to short the equity market. The vote, when it starts to happen, could actually cause some fluctuation. So it would certainly be the end of the Santa rally. But I suppose the other question is what happens if he wins. If he wins, and that also kind of clears the way, because the thing is, the stock market has really rallied off the clearing of some of this uncertainty that we've got out there. So if he was to win that vote, does that mean that that with that extra bit of certainty that the market has, that the market would be good to go for some further gains?
I'm not sure about that. That's what I say. I'm really uncertain about outcomes right now.
Yeah.
I think Christmas can't come fast enough for me where I can just take a break and say, I really don't need to worry about this anymore for a while.
It's an interesting time, isn't it? Because in some respects, we've got the seasonality kicking in, which is kind of suggesting that we should be moving higher, and we've got this. We had the clearing of the uncertainty in the UK Parliament with Boris Johnson getting such a huge majority, and then you couple that with the fact that that China and America have supposedly agreed a phase 1 trade deal, and we've seen quite a euphoric move to the upside. But it is really still based on quite a lot of euphoria, because Boris Johnson getting a majority doesn't really sort out Brexit. And which is why we see the pound rally and then dip again. All it does is just create a probability that we might get a specific direction. I think people were hoping that direction would be a bit more moderate, but that hasn't happened. The chance of a China trade 1 phase deal has increased, but it's still not been signed. So that doesn't help. And also on the China trade 1, the China America trade deal, what was discussed was the fact that Donald Trump would agree to roll back the old tariffs as well as the new one that was meant to come in on last Sunday. Now, he did hold on the one for Sunday, but what he didn't do was roll back on the previous ones. And China seemed to be of the impression that that's what he was going to do. So with that in mind as well, there's still, as I say, some bumps in the road. And I think both of them are probably producing this right now. We've got a bump in the road still with Brexit. There's still uncertainty out with that, and we've still got uncertainty with this China and America trade deal as well. So I think there's still some things that are unresolved, and the market really is rallying on gas, which it seems to love to do. But it doesn't seem to me like it's actually rallying on anything substantial and solid, materially solid. I think it's just going up on fumes right now.
Well, it's as we said, once they get a sniff of those fumes and they think, okay, Santa rally, I've heard of that. We know it's going to rise, so let's buy.
Yeah.
and away they go, and that's all good. I've got no drama with that, mate. I've looked at a few charts now, and really, this is the middle of nowhere. It's at a beautiful trade line. Love the trade line, but I need to see something that it's telling me long or short, and this is not telling me that. It's telling me I'm in the middle of a range, and that's all. That's Euro Aussie. Dollar yen, I've kind of been interested in coming off the tops here, but
Lewis
again,
is just
that doesn't
saying
seem
that
to want to.
the trend line he
Oh, that's
sees.
on the Aussie, yeah.
That's on the
Sorry,
Aussie.
sorry,
Okay.
Lewis. Yeah,
Yeah.
and thank you for that. I did adjust the trend line to suit you there, Lewis, and I think that's perfectly fine. The one thing that I will add to that, and the one thing that we need to take notice of, is it's often very, very convenient to find a line that suits our purpose, but it's not always the best line. And let's have a look at this hourly chart, shall we? And my rules cater for as many pip perfect points of contact as close to the market as possible. Pip perfect, pip perfect, pip perfect. So we've got 3 points of contact. But if I'll keep that line there, I'll add another one. If I were to go here and use those two lows, I'll have to go a bit tighter so I can actually get it right. So this low and this low are the two I'm looking for. So we've got 1, 2, I'll call that 3. Then we've had a break and a retest. So that wipes that out. That's now gone, that trade line. But before it went, it showed me a break and a retest. And I spoke about this earlier. There's no way that I want to trade short into this massive 68.38 level as I've got it. But it is as I pointed out before, a very strong level. You can see what it's done over here as support, false break of resistance, false break of resistance, strong resistance again here, resistance again here, and now potential support. That's why I like this this level. Frankly, it is a strong level, and we appear to be in a now bull trend. I'll hesitate to say that, but I'll call it bull momentum, where we're getting higher highs and lows, higher highs, and if we are to get a higher low, this will be the point that happens, in my opinion. It could also happen here or here, but this looks it looks okay. I'm happy with the position that we're in. So in terms of that hourly trade line, mate, I think you've probably got it as good as it can be. But there's one more thing I would look at, and that would be getting closer to the market and using that low and that low. That's kind of where I live, right? In my M30 space, not necessarily the hourly space, but that's where I spent most of my time as a trader, on the M30, and that again is showing me break retest. Now, am I going to trade that? No, there's no way I would enter the market here. It's too much support right now. There's a very strong resistance trade line coming through here as well. Probably not off that high, but off that one. So, like most things at the moment, we've got these prices fairly well boxed in. There's an entry here for me as a slingshot trader. I've got 3 tests. I've got an approach and a pullback from the trade line. But can I trade that? Not in a month of Sundays. Why? Well, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't need to tell you, Lewis, why I can't trade that. We've got an untested daily pivot dead ahead. We've got about 11 pips of risk trading into 3 and a bit of profit before we hit it. Ain't going to happen. And we've got a confluence area there as well. So this could explode through here and go to 79 cents as far as I'm concerned. But I won't be on board that. It'll give me the shits if it did. But the rules are the rules, and I just can't trade there. So, yes, I do like the fact that the Aussie is in a strong support position. Do I like the fact that we've come back 100 pips? Look, no, that's never a wonderful thing. especially if you're at risk. But we're not at risk, so I don't mind. I'm happy if this takes off now, obviously. And if it doesn't, then we're going to see it hit lower lows without question. But I'm happy with the position that I'm in. Euro yen, I'm not happy with the position that I'm in. And as I said, I'm moving stops to entry now. And if it does come back and take my entry and then go short, yeah, I'll be pissed. But I don't like the price we got in at. We got in here and we should have got in here. So we've missed. What have we missed? We've missed 20 pips already. You know, that's more than halfway to TP1. So yeah.
Horrible, isn't it, mate? That killed me on Monday, you know, as well. You know, just kind of getting in just a little bit too late.
Yeah, but you know, my reaction to that now is we've got the opportunity to rescue that position if it's wrong, and we're going to do that. We're going to move our stops to entry, and if they hit entry and go back to the daily pivot or go back to this trade line, well, guess what? We can then get our price, the price that we want, and trade it from there. If it takes out the highs, then, well, we've saved it. We've saved a bit of money, number one, because we haven't had our stop hit. And number two, we were wrong in the first place because it's going that way, not this way. So, you know, to me, this is perfectly sensible. Just move your stops to entry here. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So, mate, really, I've got no trades at the moment to add to. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not that keen to get too many trades on board. I was looking at this earlier. Pound yen, it's a mini false break, if you like. You can see the trade line very clearly. We've come below it. We've just snuck our way above it, and then we've had a big rejection bar.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of there, and we do have an untested daily pivot above us. But you know, we've just had the discussion about pound. Do I really want to trade the pound long right now? Ooh, it's looking better when I look at it, though, I've got to say.
I'll tell you what as well, mate. The yesterday's numbers from the UK weren't particularly good. You know, we had unemployment data, which was held, but the average earnings was pretty dire. You know, it actually shrunk a little bit. So the evidence.
The market doesn't like it when wages.
No, I mean the evidence for the strength of the UK economy just isn't there. You know, we're going to get CPI data later on, which is going to be you know, a read that we can take, and I suspect that's probably why we're holding right now with the pound until that data comes out. But I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the pound continue to sell off after that data point is released. Even if we get a pop up, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see another down day with the pound. So moves to the upside, I think, should probably still be sold off.
Yeah, but I can see a move to the upside here.
Yeah, maybe so that. But yeah, I think you could be right on that. Maybe up to the daily pivot, and then after that's been tested, then I'd be a little bit more cautious personally.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to trade through here. I don't think that's true. Am I interested? Is the question. It'll boil down to reward to risk here. So I've got to enter here. Let's say I enter above that bar. I can take profit here. That's fine. I've got to put my stop here. So I've got 63 pips of risk. It's about 1-to-1 trading through that level. Now, I think I'll leave it. Given the bias, which is kind of neutral but kind of bearish, I think I'll leave it alone, mate. But you know, if you're interested, if you've got to get into the market, guys, and I suggest that you don't ever have to get into the market, but you know, if you're itchy for a trade, that's not the worst. But most definitely take profit before this high, and most definitely get out at the daily pivot. That would be my counsel. So pound yen potential there for a long, but not for me right now. I'm happy with what I've got. I'm happy to move my stops to entry on euro yen, and that'll be me for the day, mate.
Great stuff. All right, mate. Sounds good. All right, we'll be back tomorrow just to kind of wrap up, I guess, for the week and maybe for the year, actually. In fact, it will be the year, won't it? It'll be the last show tomorrow, mate.
Yep.
Shame we're not allowed to play music.
Oh, we can. No, we can't. Can we? So we'll work around that. But no, we can't.
Yeah, there's no
Oh,
working.
look, Paul hasn't had an email for ages, has he? Maybe I'll sneak something in the background. We'll see.
see if we get banned from any other regions. All right, great
It's
stuff.
Christmas. Surely they'll forgive us.
Yeah. Where's your Christmas spirit, YouTube?
Yeah, you pricks. Get real.
All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Much better to have you back, Jeff. My God, it's been a tough week without you.
Cheers,
But I will see you tomorrow. Same trade time, same trade channel. Everyone
What
else. 5 to 8 tomorrow, mate.
5 to 8. That's a date. Don't be late, guys. Have a good one.
See you later, chaps.